Thank you very much for joining us today. We are here in beautiful Cannes for MIPCOM. I have the president of Media Ranch out of Quebec, Sophie Ferron. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
So Sophie, this is actually a really special MIPCOM for you because it marks your 10th anniversary of the launch of Media Ranch. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the highlights of the past 10 years for you?
Well, I launched Media Ranch 10 years ago, which was a totally different market. So we always focused on a local market. And so my highlights was the biggest production I've ever done within 6 months was Wipeout. So for VTL, so we did Wipeout, which was an animal format, which we shot in Argentina. So that was my first production out of Media Ranch. So, and that set the bar pretty high. And then another production that I really, still to this day, everybody talks to me about is Dining with the Enemy, which was a Norwegian format, was the first adaptation of that Norwegian format out of Norway. And it's a reporter and a chef that bring people together from the opposite side of a conflict. So that was a very good production. I mean, that was a very heartfelt and good and meaningful production that people to this day still talk to me about, and I wish I could have produced more episodes. And another highlight would be when I launched my distribution arm 2 years ago, which we really are now focused on the distribution of formats, unscripted formats, and we're the only ones in Canada actually with that specialty. So in a nutshell, that's maybe Baggage Battles for Scripps International was my first international production, which I was really proud of as well. So in a nutshell, in the last 10 years, that were the highlights.
And what about your strategy for the next 5 years? What do you have planned?
Well, the strategy is to get even more global. So when I started, most of my expenses and most of my efforts were based in Montreal, in Canada, I would say. And now, the more I expand, outside. I have an Amsterdam office, I have a Los Angeles point of business. So this takes a whole new it makes Media Ranch more global. So for me, in the next 5 years, we'll get even more global with obviously a very strong Montreal base, but it's all going to be more IP driven and more internationally driven.
Brilliant. And speaking of IP, you have a very, very exciting project coming up, the Format Incubator Horsepower out of Quebec. Could you tell us a few details about it and what was the impetus behind creating it?
Yes, it all started because in Montreal, in Canada, we don't have a very strong format expertise. And since we are focused on unscripted formats, I wanted to train some people on what is a format, how to create a format, and how to package a format. And so I came up with an idea of trying to have an incubator, having international guests coming to train and to discuss and to screen a lot of formats, international formats, what's hot, what's not. So it all started with this idea. And then Quebec Media joined us, and they want us to create specifically for their needs. So that's even more exciting because then we will be training new talent in a new expertise formats for a client that is actually very active on the international market as well. So the candidates that will be chosen only because on their creative aspect and on their resume, they're not pitching projects. And then they'll be working with us, and at the end, they have a possibility of going forward with TVA, and Media Ranch will produce and distribute, and TVA will air. So it's a great opportunity for everybody involved. So we're very, very excited. I'm really, really looking forward to starting this.
It's terrific. So you have some projects in the pipeline for Horsepower?
No, they have to come within the candidates. So when the candidates will be chosen, we choose 6 or 8. Then after that, with them, we will focus on TVA's needs. TVA will say we're looking for this, this, and that, with that demo, and then we will start the training of what is a format and the creative process within that context of helping TVA with their programming needs. We're not asking people to pitch us their formats, and we're not choosing formats. It's the other way around. We're actually picking the people that we feel that could actually be a great creative export in a way, because we need that expertise in Montreal.
So speaking of IP, you've actually got a really strong slate of formats that you're bringing to market. Can you tell us about some of your top titles?
Well, actually, we're very excited to bring the expert. The expert, it's a play on words. It's a divorce show, as we call it. It will premiere soon in Montreal, but right now we're bringing it to MIPCOM. And it's a show about a divorce lawyer and a psychologist helping couples on the verge of divorce or divorced or wanting to know if they should continue on with their problems. So who better than a divorce lawyer to help you with your couple, because they've seen it all. So it's a great project that I'm really proud of, because it's all real, it's all authentic, but it's also very useful. You actually learn some things on the legal side, but also on the psychologist side, because she's with a psychologist. So it's a great format, because divorce, unfortunately, is universal. But it's also a positive side, because it's meant to help you through that process and to help you understand. So that's a very strong title that we're very happy to bring. And also we have the Judas, which is an interactive, scripted web show, which is really difficult to pitch because you need to see it, because it's all on all platforms, but it's very innovative, and it has aired on radiocanada.ca. So it's it's a scripted show, like a whodunit, but it's all in different platforms, and it's all on social media. But it's extremely interesting. It's really out there. And then we're bringing also The Vault. It's a Tuvalu format, and it's Ocean 12 meets Escape Room, if you will. And we're looking for this one, we're looking for a co-developing partnership.
I see. Going back to the Judas, like where could that work? That sounds like a really innovative format.
Oh, well, PlayStations, we're in discussions with some PlayStations or some web platforms. But it's very innovative, so it cannot be on the linear channels per se. But it's a difficult one to explain. You need to see the trailer to better understand it. But it's very simple. It's a scripted show. 10 minutes each capsule, and it's a owner of a building that actually spies on his tenants, and then he gets killed, and who killed him? So that's when the game starts.
It's an interactive whodunit.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
And now you have written for us in TBI a wonderful piece about the Canadian content market and how it's been in flux over the last few years. There's been a lot of consolidation, as everyone knows. What are the opportunities, do you think, for producers of your size? Because everything seems to be changing slightly for the better, could we say?
Well, it all depends on how you look at it. You need to focus on the international market. For us, we've always been focused on the international market through our Endemol association, obviously, but now even more so, because our local market, we did not need to focus on the international market, especially in French Canada, because our local market was that strong, had a huge star system. But now our local system, like everybody, local market is just a way down. They have less money, less hours are being produced or being commissioned, because they don't need to go through all that Canadian process if they don't need to. So we need to turn around on the international market. So that's the opportunity, because good content travels. We just need to think about it from the get-go when you do create. And thus the format incubator, that's the idea. You create an idea as a format starting from the beginning, so you can export it as well. You can't only focus on your own market anymore. So the opportunity, I feel, is that it's for a producer or creator to be open to create for a local market, all the while thinking of the international market. Either they produce themselves for the international market or they partner up. We need to think about more partnering up on many levels.
Creative partnerships.
Yes. That's the way to go.
Sophie, that was really wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Really nice meeting you.
You as well.